Sign up for free Stratfor Intelligence. Simply enter your email address to receive 2 free reports each week.
Bulgaria has witnessed its third straight night of cross-country protests this week, which have brought out over 2,000 people and led to over 400 arrests in over a dozen cities across the country. While these protests began in reaction to an incident linked to the Roma community in the country, the protests have taken on a more general anti-government stance and come at an important time just ahead of the country's presidential elections next month. The protests began on September 23rd when a Roma driver ran over and killed a young man in the village of Katunica. The driver is allegedly linked to a local kingpin, Kirill Rashkov, who is a notorious Roma crime boss in the country. On September 24th, a mob began to damage properties belonging to Rashkov and have started to rally across the country against the Roma community. Tensions have been building since then, and the protests have been growing both in terms of size and location. In fact, these protests have become the biggest the country has seen in over 10 years. These protests are important to watch as they could incite greater ethnic violence in the country. Roma currently make up about 5 to 10% of the population in Bulgaria, and there's also a sizable ethnic Turkish community as well. Furthermore, the protests have taken on a more general anti-government stance, particularly over areas such as corruption. And while these protests have only occurred over the past few days, they do have deeper roots over ethnic tensions between ethnic Bulgarians and the Roma community, as well as the country's growing economic problems, which are related to the general European financial crisis and have been simmering for quite some time. The protests are also important as they come just a few weeks before Bulgaria is scheduled to hold presidential elections on October 23rd. These elections are, as of right now, closely contested between the candidate from the ruling GERB party and the socialist candidate, as the current president, Georgi Paravanov, is not eligible to run for the election as he's already served 2 terms. Now there are worries that the nationalist candidate, Volen Sidorov, of the extreme right-wing Ataka party could make gains as a result of this growing ethnic violence and tensions. In a regional context, these elections are important to watch because they come as growing economic problems in Europe could lead to the emergence or the growing popularity of right-wing candidates, of which Bulgaria is an interesting case study. So these protests have both a security and a political dimension, and it will be key to see what kind of impact that they have in the country as it approaches elections in a few weeks.